So I had this idea. I'm going to build an architectural miniature or model of designs from my sketchbook, starting with this one from about 15 years ago. First, I draw the house in AutoCAD and build a 3D model in Rhino. I use Illustrator to add color and texture. I print everything out on 11 by 17 80-pound cardstock paper. When all the sheets are printed, it's time to start building. Instead of cutting out each piece, I'm going to start by scoring all of the folding lines with my X-Acto knife using my clear triangle straight edge as a guide. Scoring is just lightly cutting the surface of the paper so that it's easy to fold. After scoring, I start cutting. I cut door lines and I cut out all windows and openings, removing them as I go along. Now I can start removing the walls and pieces from the main sheets. The furniture sheet I leave for last. It has 39 pieces that need to be removed, so it takes a lot longer to cut out. Before I can actually start assembling the model, I use scissors and remove these small triangles connecting all of the folding tabs. Now that all 97 pieces of the model have been removed from the sheet, we can now start building. The first thing I'm going to do is place in the windows. I'm going to place the sheet over the window opening and use my X-Acto knife and triangle straight edge to lightly score the clear sheet. I'm going to score the lines just a little larger than the window openings so that when I use tape to place them in, the tape will not be seen. Taping in the windows are pretty simple. I just use translucent Scotch tape and with my scissors I cut them into little strips. I carefully place a strip of tape on each side of the clear plastic window piece, pressing firmly and rubbing side to side to smooth out any air bubbles. Up next, I'm going to start by folding, or in some cases refolding, all tabs and folding lines on every wall and piece. Because this was originally white paper, when it's folded, some of the white shows. So I take chalk pastels that match the color of the walls and furniture and I color in the white folded spaces. This can also be done with color pencils, markers, or crayons, but I prefer chalk pastels. After I've colored in all of the white lines, I use a small wood dowel and white tacky glue to assemble this model, starting with the furniture and small interior pieces. I assemble things like the kitchen before the model walls because it makes it easier to attach it as a unit instead of individually. Because I don't work with gloves, I use this small microfiber cloth to wipe away any fingerprints and dust that might be on any of the window pieces. As you can see, most of the first floor is complete and it looks pretty neat if you ask me. The fireplace I designed for this house is an open concept fireplace. It's tucked into the corner, leaving two sides open, and the large mantle-like shelf gives it a more architectural feel. Some interior pieces are placed in before the model is done, like the flat screen television that's mounted onto the wall. It would be very difficult to glue it into place at a different stage. I cut a small piece of aluminum foil to use as a mirror. This wall contains the bathroom, so as I build, I start placing in some wall art, shower nozzle, and shower door. The next wall also contains the other half of the bathroom. So I placed in the toilet, and while I'm at it, I go ahead and hang some wall art. Assembling the staircase can also be kind of tedious. I have to score both the front and back so that I'm able to fold both sides almost like an accordion. Underneath the staircase is a built-in floating desk. It's mounted to the underside of the staircase and wall. A little Picasso painting adds a nice finished touch before I attach these two walls. This house has two fireplaces. In hindsight, I should have turned this outdoor fireplace into wood storage. It's almost time to place the finished walls onto the first floor. But first, I place this wall assembly onto the floor sheet to make sure everything lines up. This wood post will act as a second floor support and boundary element for the office nook. This first section I'm going to glue down onto the floor sheet. I use part of my broken tweezers to firmly press the tabs connecting the walls to the floor. Then I place in the wood post. Like the first wall section, I'm placing these lower walls on the floor sheet to make sure everything aligns. After that, I start the gluing process. I use the wood dowel to spread glue on the base sheet instead of the floor tabs. This allows me a little more control. I finish up the first floor build with the placement of these landscaping lights. Up next, I start working on the second floor. Because this is basically a loft, this floor only has two main interior walls. I placed this 42-inch high pony wall, and the wood panel wall is the closet. The last piece of artwork is a photograph of this deer that will overlook the main space. The final upper wall to be glued down is the large window wall, and once again my trusty broken tweezers come in handy as I use it to press the bottom tabs onto the second floor piece. From the bedroom, I hope it will look as if you're in the trees. The last piece for the second floor is this cantilevered porch. After assembling, I set it aside until it's needed. I finally get to finish up the main fireplace. This is the exposed flue for the fireplace and it's glued to the mantel shelf. I can finally start placing in the furniture. I start with the first floor, gluing everything in before I do the same for the loft bedroom. Now comes the hard part, placing the second floor and upper walls on top of the first floor. Because the second floor has an overhang on 3 sides, I decide to lay the model on its side. Using my wood dowel and tacky glue, I go ahead and lightly apply glue to the top wall tabs. Having the model on its side also keeps me from damaging the walls. I can apply pressure to the glued spots without worrying about walls buckling. The final wall placement is also a little difficult. It has to slide into place first, then I have to apply glue to the tabs. This house has two roofs. This is the lower roof that goes over the staircase wall. Before placing the main roof, I put in the cantilevered porch. And finally, the main roof. I like the idea of built-in planters, so when designing the house, 3 of the walls are used as planters to give the house more depth and break up the mass, sort of adding to the illusion of a floating box. For the base, I went simple. I used a Trader Joe's brown bag over 1/2 inch foam core and framed it with 1/8 inch black foam core. I want the architecture to be the focus, so I tend to do minimal landscaping. Thanks for watching.